Beta, so glad to have you back on the show. Welcome back to
Yeah,
the
man.
Weekend Aquarist. We were talking and we were discussing this so many times that we need to do this, and
Right.
you finally nailed it. Top 10 Indian native fishes. So let's hear it from you why they make that list. And right on top of that list is the zebra Danio. So
Yeah.
tell us about your experience with the zebra Danio.
Yeah, I think it's probably the Indian native fish that every hobbyist has kept without knowing it's an Indian native fish, right? So I remember when I was young, we used to have the long fin and a few other moths, but right now you have the glow zebra danios and all that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
But the ones from the wild are still really beautiful,
absolutely, absolutely,
especially in a planted tank.
absolutely.
You don't see as much of their beauty if you don't, set up the tank. But if you give them a nice environment, they're very beautiful, right?
Yes.
And the bonus is that they stay at the top, so they usually don't disturb shrimps. They don't eat plants. They're not a problem to feed.
Beta, we just had a slight glitch, but just continuing our conversation, uh, I have some of them right now. Sriram's sir gifted me some, and
Nice.
I'm keeping them probably after 20 years or so.
Oh
I
wow.
used to have, those days used to only get the Vallisneria plants. Okay, so I used to have a
Mm,
very small tank, which had actually we used to stay very close to Juhu Beach. So I'd
okay.
got the sand from Juhu Beach and had plugged the Vallisneria in it, and these guys were doing very well. So very active fish, very beautiful. The
Yeah.
metallic blue that really comes out of it with, and when the light is right, you get the golden horizontal stripes also.
Mm.
Carry on. Tell us about your experience.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it mirrors yours because that is one of the few of the first fish I kept. I still have them actually. I still have a bunch of them in my fish room. But those are actually from West Bengal. But I did get some of them recently from the Eastern Ghats as well.
Okay.
Right. So, as I was saying, and if somebody asks what's the perfect fish, for a small planted tank, that's it, because it's kind of bulletproof also, right? So
Yeah.
it's not a very easy fish to kill, right?
Yeah.
So even if you're a beginner, they're easy to breed as well because the difference between the sexes is quite. I mean, at least for me, it's easy to tell because the males are kind of thin,
Slender.
the
Yeah.
females, yeah, slender. The females are
Rounded
right,
bodies
more
and all. Yeah.
cylindrical,
You
right?
make that out. Yeah.
Kind of like oblong, right? So easy to tell, and they're very active fish,
Yeah.
right? So I don't think there is a minute that they stay in one place. They're
They stay
always
still and all.
swimming around. So they're a perfect fish to complement a planted aquarium because by itself they don't take up too much of the attention, but they also bring in some activity, in a calm environment. So
My memories after that, and the first time I encountered them, once I was in college, I was pursuing zoology in Ruya, Ramnarayan Ruya College, and I was so pleasantly surprised when I saw these a very small room in the college, which was out of bounds for us because it was all the PhD and MSc students over
okay,
there, and they had these tanks full of zebra fish. So I entered, and that's when they told me that, look, the contribution of the zebra Danio to science continues to be there. I mean, even
yeah,
now it
right.
continuously amazes. And one of the facts that I remember was that it can regenerate its body parts. Is that something that, yeah?
I've not heard of that.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
it
I mean when it
regenerates cells.
as cut fins and all that, it grows back, but I'm not sure about this. But as you said, It's something is part of almost all of the the labs which do genetic studies, right?
Right.
So it's a very important fish both for the the hobby community as well as the scientific community, and
Right.
it doesn't just rest with you know
Just the hobby
aquarium
knowledge. Yeah,
related
yeah, yeah,
science, right? So it's an amazing fish that way. And another interesting thing is that I have found them in areas where there is very less flow. I found them in hill streams. So many different environments. I found them in warm water. I found them in a high altitude. So it's a
it's a
fish for
versatile
all
fish.
seasons.
It's a
Yeah, it's a
versatile
fish.
fish.
Yeah, it's very versatile fish, right?
And
Quite adaptable.
the next one I'm seeing over here is the Indian rice fish. Now that comes number two in your list. So tell us, what makes that fish so special.
Yeah. Again, it's a bit of a subtle beauty. It's kind of whitish color, translucent white color fish. The males have nice dorsal fins and even the anal fin extensions. The females, similar to the zebra Danio barb, they're more plumper.
Yeah.
But I think the very interesting thing about them is that they carry the eggs outside their body,
Hmm.
right? So it's like a bunch of grapes that's hanging onto the body. You'll see them when they breed in your tank. They carry it around and then they deposit on the leaves. Right? It's a very interesting son. And the eggs look like jelly balls because they are again transparent, right? So it's a very interesting. So I mean, I'm not sure if I have a photo of it, but you should Google it and see. I've observed it in my tank, but
That's
definitely you should.
amazing. That's the first
Yeah.
I have. I've never kept rice fish,
Uh,
so this is the first one. So I'm now curious to see this.
Yeah, I think this should be found in the Maharashtra area as well, especially near the estuaries. You do
Yes.
find them.
Yes.
I found them both inland as well as in the estuaries as well.
Okay.
Obviously, if you're catching it from an estuary, some bit of acclimatization needs to be done.
Right.
But they're again quite a hardy fish, just like the zebra danios. They're not as active as them, but you'll see that they're as adaptable as zebra danios, and they also have very beautiful glowing eyes.
Hmm.
So sometimes they call it, I think they call it blue eyes or something like that, right? As a common name. So it's quite good. And even the other rice fishes, what we have typically kept is the Oryzias carnaticus. But you'd have seen a lot of the there's a like just like you have a guppy community, there is a Medaka
Correct.
community which
Correct.
does
Correct.
so many mutations of that, and that itself is a hobby of its own,
Yeah,
right?
I think South Asian and even Japanese rice fish have
Yeah.
quite some colorations amongst them. Great. Coming down to number three, is this one is actually my favorite. I mean, I don't know why you didn't give it number one. This is the Dario. So tell us about your experience with the Dario.
Yeah, let me first start by saying why I didn't put it at number one. It's a fish that everybody wants to keep in their tank, right? But then the problem with them is that they don't take dry food, right?
Dry
So they
food is
need
required.
live food or frozen food like worms, daphnia, any micro live food. So it's not like, well, it's a very beautiful fish for nano aquarium. It is not a suitable fish for a beginner,
Yeah.
especially if you're not able to, give them what it requires, right?
Right. Right.
Another problem is that, from a trade standpoint, you'll see that uh, I think 95% of the fish are males that are
Correct.
collected
Correct.
because the males have a lot more color, right?
Right.
So the males are colorful, so you have a very skewed sex ratio, in your dealer's tank,
Mhm.
and you might end up only getting males, right? So not a very ideal situation. I would recommend anyone, even from a collection standpoint, just the males getting collected, somehow there must be some damage it's doing, I'm guessing, right?
Yes. Yeah. I could just kind of just that thought just crossed me that that must be a sad situation, you
Yeah.
know. but lucky for the males who got left behind and
I
didn't
know.
get collected.
I know. It's like being the most popular person on the block, I guess. Right?
So
For a change, all the females must be chasing the males there, I guess.
yeah, so I've kept Dario even in
Mm.
Tropico Aqua. We used to have this, and I have observed them very closely, and they are like mini predators. They are
Yeah,
actually hunters,
yeah,
and if you by mistake, I used to have all planted tanks, and there used to be shrimps almost in all of the tanks,
mm.
and these guys used to go for the smallest
Yeah.
shrimplets,
The baby shrimps they will
baby
decimate the
shrimps and
population.
all,
Yeah,
and they used to go, so and especially when you have the two males coming, and they will have a nice dance
yeah,
around each other and all. I
yeah,
think I think that could be the reason also why they are so popular, and that's why color males, that
mm.
maybe skewing the ratio.
Yeah,
But again, the ones that got left out are lucky in that sense. So
yeah,
okay, so number four in your list is the Dadio purple hatchlet, which is the
mm.
Neochela Dadiburjori.
Yeah.
So
It's
beautiful fish.
the name is a handful, but it's a very small fish. Again, a surface dweller like the zebra danios. So you don't see it coming to the the lower levels often. It might come to the upper medium levels of the tank.
Mm,
A very beautiful fish. And most of the collection is from Kerala,
mm.
around the the Kochi area. Um, while it looks like a very streamlined fish and something that might live in a fast flowing water, it's actually not found in fast flowing waters.
Okay.
But it is okay to live in fast flowing waters as well.
Mm,
So again, I've seen that it adapts well to a planted tank environment where you have CO2, you don't it's not I would say environment where there's a lot of movement as well, right? There is a
mm.
bit of movement, but then it is not like a hill stream, right?
Right.
So it is okay with that. It's also okay in a hill stream tank. I have a few in a hill stream tank. They do well there as well, and they actually breed in one of my tanks. So
Wow.
I guess they're not fussy about breeding as well. One thing that you'll have to watch out for is they are jumpers,
They're jumpers.
right?
Right.
So, I mean, contrasting with zebra Danio, I've not seen them jumping so much. But these chaps, till they settle down, they can jump out. So you need to make sure that you
Yeah.
have a, cover for the tank.
Yeah. See, most of them are in the trade wild caught. Okay. And
Right.
therefore, when they are put in a tank which is about 2 or 3 feet, hopefully not smaller than that, they
Yeah.
will kind of try and escape. But I've had zebra danios also, commit suicide
Hmm.
in big tanks also, because uh, unlike the early days, when my father used to keep it, he used to have a very thin glass to cover the
Heat.
tank. Uh, I don't use that because that traps heat and all. So,
Right.
uh, I have an open tank, and the surface is right up till the brim, only leaving about
Okay.
probably half an inch or even lesser than that. So yeah, I'm kind of guilty of some of them kind of getting tempted to jump out.
Yeah.
Um, the next one over here is the Canius Barb, Pethia canius.
Yeah.
Again, a beautiful fish.
Yeah. A interesting thing about this is that a lot of people would have kept this fish under the name of Julius barb.
Hmm.
So there are actually three species. There is Gelius, Canius, Aurea. They are subtle differences. I have a photo of all three of them so you can tell them apart.
Sure.
So there's a difference in pattern, a bit of color. But then all of these are, sold with the same trade name as the Julius Barb. But most of the ones that I've come across, I've kept all three, but the ones that I've come across are the Canius. So typically, probably if you're looking at in Kurla market, right? Most probably you are getting Canius, not the other two. Yeah, there is a chance you can get those, but they usually might come in mixed, right? With the majority being, Canius.
Mm-hmm.
This is a very good, fish for the middle part of the tank.
Mm.
So if you can imagine the fish that we spoke about,
Like
Dario at the
octopus,
bottom, right?
bottom
And you
fish.
have the Oryzias, sorry, you can call it Ricefish, and this one taking the middle, and then you have the Chela and the Danio at the the top level, right?
Mm,
So
mm,
this is an excellent fish for that level. You can put a large group if you have a large enough tank. Obviously, for a smaller tank,
mm,
7 to 8 is a good number.
mm,
But once they settle down, they have really glowing colors.
mm.
Uh, I mean, you should look up the pictures that I've
Yeah, I'm
photographed.
looking at it right now. You
They
know
look stunning,
what
right?
what do you think I've been looking at it? There's a cheat sheet over here of all your photographs and all. Okay,
Yeah,
so yeah, that's amazing. And
yeah.
so just a pause over here in terms of what are what are the ideal tank mates for them? Would you recommend a biotope specific tank, or kind of, because people like to keep everything and anything and everything in one tank, and that's something that one shouldn't do. But uh, give us your views on how about the tank mates for all the ones that we just spoke about.
Yeah, it might seem a bit odd because I've been a judge of, biotope contests and all that, but you'd have seen my fish room. My philosophy is a bit different. I don't think the fish worries whether the driftwood in that tank came from China or from India, right?
Mm, mm,
I think it is more important to take care of its requirements,
mm,
which is probably for, say, open water snakehead. It's a lot
mm,
of swimming space,
mm,
right? For a Dario, it is some vegetation and probably some driftwood, right? Again, if you talk about zebra Danio, it's a large swimming space, right?
mm,
So
mm,
from that philosophy standpoint, my thought is that one, you should be able to give them the conditions in which they will show the best color, right? And again, they also need to be stress free, which means that you pick up fish which are compatible with it, right?
right.
Let's take the case of the Canius Barb. Uh, Whatever fish that I've listed on this list, they are compatible with all of them. What they might not be compatible with, just like Dario are the baby shrimps, right? They might eat some of the the shrimplets that are there in the tank.
Mm, mm,
Otherwise, they do well. If you put them as a group, they loosely school, and they settle down pretty fast. Another thing that you'll have to watch out is bringing in fishes with parasites, right? Because these are wild caught fishes, and I've seen Pethia with external parasites more than internal parasites. I've seen them more with external parasites. So
mm,
uh, you will have to quarantine them before you add to your plant tank. Is
mm,
my
mm,
advice.
mm.
Even though they are a small fish, you can observe the parasites on them, right? So
Mm.
you should still be able to detect. But
Do you use any particular you know disinfectant is not the right word, but do you use any particular chemical medicines to kind of
okay, so I for internal deworming, I use a product called Prazi Pro. That's basically
Brazil?
Praziquantal.
Hmm.
There are the one that I get is from, I think it's manufactured by Hikari. But there are other products, I think called Prazi Gold, and then there is some Metrogel based medicines as well that you get in the market.
Hmm.
Metrogel, I think you will need some specific temperature for it to work as well. There is some issues with how you dissolve it and so on. Prasi, I found it to be the most safest for internal deworming. For external parasites, you can even do it with methylene blue or mix of malachite green plus
Hmm.
formalin.
Hmm.
Or in some extreme cases, I've also used copper. So
Hmm.
there's Seachem has a good copper product. I think it's called cupramine.
Hmm.
That's a good one, right? But obviously, you don't do this medication in your
In
planted
that
tank. You
main
also have,
tank where you have
yeah,
invertebrates and all, they will just pop up.
yeah. Even otherwise, they some of these can decimate the bacterial population, right?
Yes, yes,
So, and some of it can bind with your biological elements that are there,
right,
like wood and all that. So, always
right.
better to either use a tub or you do have a small glass tank, bare bottom tank with some sponge filter and do the medication in that. And that's
Right.
a much better way of handling it.
Awesome. Beautifully put here. So the number six on your list is the stone catfish,
Yeah,
the jerdoni. I always struggle with the Erethistes
yeah,
jerdoni. Yeah,
Erethistes jerdoni.
yeah,
So a very small catfish. I think I've heard a lot of different names: anchor catfish, stone catfish, and a lot of these things. It's a very cute catfish. The only thing is you need to have patience because it's a fish. I'm guessing it's nocturnal in its habitat, so you don't see it out much when there is light,
yeah.
unless you are feeding some worms, right?
Right.
So definitely, it's a nice, small, cute catfish,
Hmm.
but then you'll have to feed live or frozen for it, and you'll probably have to train it to come to one specific area to eat it.
Right.
Or else the problem is that if you have fishes which will outcompete it for food, it will quickly thin, right? So definitely it's something for people who have some patience. Definitely,
Yeah,
you
I,
don't see
I,
it too
I
often.
had these, and
Mm.
they're really small.
Yeah,
They're,
tiny.
they're tiny and they're beautiful. I mean,
Yeah.
and in a planted tank, especially if you've got dwarf hair grass and all, they really look cool.
Yeah, they kind of look like they got stuck inside the grass, like they have nowhere to move,
You
right?
know,
And sometimes it looks like if you look at it from above, it looks like I think it's a B-52 bomber, right?
yeah, that
Got
your
this
photograph,
long pectoral fins.
your photograph also shows it like
Yeah,
spread out, and it's a frontal shot, so it's a
yeah,
beautiful capture. Also, it actually looks quite bigger than actually is.
yeah. And
You
that's
know,
something you should remember. I'm using macro plus super macro, so most of these fishes are like very, very small, 2 centimeter, 3 centimeter fishes.
so number seven on your list is the Glowlight Carplet.
Yeah. So there are two species, Horadandia, brittani, and Atuparali. So Atuparali is found in Sri Lanka as well. Brittani, most likely, whatever you see in the trade would be brittani, and that comes from Kerala. Very cute fish, translucent. It's got a kind of glowing body. They loosely shoal. I've had tanks where I've had 50 of them. Looks amazing. If you have a very thickly planted tank. Uh, I think they look better in a wild planted tank rather than like a manicured planted tank, in my opinion,
Hmm.
right? Because they weave in through that and they move as groups, so they look really nice.
Hmm.
Uh, Again, these are mid-level fishes, not fuzzy. And if you kind of look at my photo, the jaw looks really odd, like it's got a very underslung jaw. It's not very apparent if you don't look at it very closely,
Hmm.
but
Hmm.
otherwise it looks like a tetra, right? So you can easily
Yeah.
mistake it for one of the South
it,
American
it
tetras.
does look, if you can imagine a sad smiley, then it looks like that. It's got
Yeah,
the mouth
that's
is big,
true.
as if
That's
it's
true.
like kind of upset as to uh,
Yeah,
you know
not getting the right food.
you're not getting the right food or whatever.
Yeah,
But again, it's a beautiful fish, and so you've captured this in your
yeah.
your fish room itself.
Actually, I have few of them right next to me. Few like a feet away from me in one of those quarantine tanks that you saw. So
I don't want to. I don't want you to disturb the camera because you struggled quite a bit trying to keep it
yeah,
steady. Okay,
that's true.
so we so
But I
we'll
think
we'll,
people can see it in the when we
we'll
did
add
the fish room tour, right?
we'll add the
Hopefully they can
footage.
notice it in there.
So
Yeah,
number eight on your list is the spiny loach, the common spiny loach.
yeah. Another interesting one because if you think of what you can have as a cleanup crew in your nano tank, this is a good fish.
Mm,
Um, Only thing is that they love fine sand because they are basically a sand sifter.
mm,
So
mm,
you will see them sometimes going burying under the sand. or sifting through the sand for food. It
mm,
looks
mm,
really nice. It's like a small, earth mover, right? Moving around, trying to get some debris, uneaten food and so on. And it's very peaceful. You can put them with shrimps, no issues. They're okay even if the temperature is high. They're okay in tanks which are not too cool, right? So I wouldn't recommend them in a tank which has like say 24 degrees or 25 degrees. I've not seen them in that scenario. Usually it's around 26 to 30 or even higher that I've seen them in, right? Same, similar to some of the other fish like, zebra Danio. I've seen this in hill streams. I've also seen these in like puddles.
mm, mm.
And incidentally, it's a very, very popular food fish in Tamil Nadu. So there's
Mm.
something called Irameen curry. That's like a fish curry that they make out of it. I know it sounds odd for such a small fish.
Small, yeah.
Yeah, it's a tiny fish, but then some people do have a taste for that, and it is a
Yeah,
delicacy.
I've seen. See, I grew up. After 15, we shifted from Bombay to New Bombay, and I was staying in a place called Belapur. It's got these beautiful hills and hill streams, and that's where I saw most of the giant dinios also that I spoke to you about. Quite a few loaches. I couldn't identify them at that time, and it's difficult. But I did notice the locals also used to kind of, catch them in lots. So must be edible over here as well. Um but one of the things that I noticed also is that they're pretty active. They're always active. They're always sifting around.
Yeah,
Uh, make some interesting. And you mentioned about the puddles also. So what used to happen is when the streams are overflowing, the water is going all over, right? It's kind of flooding the banks and all. And
yeah,
when the water recedes, it leaves these small puddles, which eventually dry out. But you will find some of these trapped over there as well. I do remember that. Good memories of that. Number 9 is your hyphen glassy perchlet.
yeah. I think this is again something that you would have seen in your local fish store and probably missed it or bought it and killed it because they're again a bit fuzzy in terms of getting live food or frozen.
Mm,
But then the males are pretty beautiful. They get a nice red color.
mm,
Um, so, I mean, because of that, the way they have a very transparent structure, they look very attractive if you put them in a group.
mm,
They look really nice. But as I said, you will have to take care of their food requirements because that is something that they're very fussy about.
mm.
And being an already thin fish, they don't get fed well. I don't think they will last long. But it's a very nice fish to keep as long as you can take care of its requirements.
Eh,
And most times I've found them in warmer waters.
okay.
So it's like say around 29, 30 degrees kind of thing.
Mm,
So
mm,
it's a good for and it's a low tech planted tank with cryptocurrency and all that. I think they will do well in
mm,
those
mm.
type of setups.
Wow. Okay. And I'm most upset with you for the number 10. You've kept a very beautiful fish right down the list, the Dwarf Gourami. So why that injustice to that fish?
No prejudice to it. It is. I think it's becoming, at least in my view, it's becoming more and more uncommon.
Mm,
I used to see them a lot.
mm,
Now, what you see is the neon dwarf gourami
mm,
or the red coral gourami as they call it, right? The mutations that they have of the line bred specimens of these. So much, in fact, that sometimes it's become a rarity to find these, dwarf gouramis.
yeah.
Similar problem like Dario. I see that a majority of the ones that are in stores are the males because they are
Mm,
brightly colored,
mm, mm, mm,
right? So, but then very interesting thing is that um, I don't know if you are interested in the scientific names and all that. This used to be called Trichogaster fasciata, or rather now it is
Okay.
called fasciata. Earlier it was called Lalius, right?
Dalius. Okay.
Yeah, so I think it was
Beauty,
just a
beauty is
couple.
the pearl gourami.
No, the fasciata is basically, I think they call it striped gourami.
Uh-huh.
It's also it's got a kind of diagonal stripes.
Hmm.
So now that fish is Bijus, Trichogaster Bijus, and this one is now fasciata, right? So there is
Mm-hmm.
some changes that happened in the scientific world for that.
Hmm.
But it's still the beautiful fish.
It is.
Again, I've noticed with these fish is that they have internal parasites. They carry internal parasites.
Hmm.
So again, definitely this is a fish that you need to
Deworm and all.
deworm, because you might add it to the tank and they look like they're eating, but they'll continue to lose weight, and you might lose them in future,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
So
uh,
what?
the interesting thing is that also that I've found them, the nesting habits is very nice. So they usually build a bubble nest uh, under vegetation, right? Where there's some floating vegetation, they do that. So there is usually a male and female under. So even if it is a small water body and there is some floating algae or some, salvinia or duckweed and all that, you will find, a pair under that,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
the colors are even more vibrant when they are breeding. So it's
Yeah.
like uh, really amazing.
You would be aware of this, right? They are also good spitters. You
I've
know,
never noticed that.
no, I have noticed that, and I used
Okay.
to have that dwarf gourami. So
Ah,
I used to dangle with a pair of tweezers
okay.
a tubifex worm, okay, a single tubifex worm, and they will shoot it. You know,
Oh,
like your
archer fish, is it?
archer fish. They will shoot it, and they're pretty good at it. And that's an interesting thing, to observe. But because people are so used to giving them, dry
The
food or
dry food, yeah.
like that, you miss out on these little things uh, as to how they behave in nature and how they
Yeah, I
survive.
think that's one of the pity. They get fed that generic, that floating food, that red and green color. I don't know what it is called now. We used to get it as, I think, Hikari or
Flakes, flakes.
Hitachi or something like that. And it used to have, instead of made in Japan, it used to say made as Japan. And it's
I
very evident that
remember.
it doesn't made more than, 10 kilometers from there. Right? Yeah.
Yeah, so good memories, and thanks for this list. I mean, very few, um, I would say not many Indian aquarium hobbyists are aware of the beauty that exists uh, within our own country, and they would have seen some of these fishes, but some of them may not even be aware that these are,
Yeah. Yeah.
Indian. They are local, and I think we need to create more awareness. This is just a start, so we keep talking about it. And thank you for taking off the time and sharing this. Let's
Sure.
catch up more often, Vita, and just
Sure.
continue this series.
Yeah, we have a lot more fishes to talk about.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Thank
Thank you so much. Thanks for being on the
you.
show.